Welcome to this explainer. We're taking a thrilling 5,000-year journey today through one of the most culturally and historically rich landscapes on Earth. We're going to map the complete history of Karnataka, a massive powerhouse of a state in southwestern India. We're talking an incredible, continuous evolution here, starting all the way back with ancient stone tools and rolling chronologically right up to the buzzing silicon chips of today. It's a story packed with powerful dynasties, absolutely brilliant architecture, fierce resistance, and some seriously groundbreaking innovation. Okay, let's dive into this. To make sense of thousands of years of sprawling history, we've broken this down into 5 fascinating thematic anchors. Ancient roots and early empires, the great temple builders, the Vijayanagara Empire, resistance and colonial rule, and finally, from independence to Silicon. Section 1. Ancient roots and early empires, from megaliths to the Mauryas. You see, this specific geographic region hasn't just been occupied, it's been actively fostering complex, thriving societies since the prehistoric age. Around 3000 BCE, early human settlements were already leaving behind megaliths and stone tools. Fast forward to the 3rd century BCE, and Karnataka becomes this vital hub of Emperor Ashoka's massive Mauryan empire. They actually brought Buddhism to the region, and we know this for sure because of ancient archaeological evidence like the Brahmagiri Edicts. Later on, the Satavahana dynasty stepped up, and they really supercharged regional trade and culture. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is what happens between the 4th and 6th century CE. Because we aren't just seeing the rise of a new ruling family here, we're literally witnessing the birth of an entire linguistic identity. Operating out of Banavasi, the Kadamba dynasty pioneered the use of the Kannada language in their inscriptions and literature. It's a monumental cultural footprint that is still deeply felt in the region today. Section 2. The Great Temple Builders, carving history in stone. So this era represents a true golden age. We're looking at a rapid succession of Middle-era kingdoms that quite literally carve their legacy into the landscape. It kicks off in the 6th century with the Chalukyas rising at Badami. Then the Rashtrakutas take over as the dominant power in the 8th century, only to yield to the Western Chalukyas in the 10th. Finally, the Hoysalas set up their capital at Belur in the 12th century. And what's wild is that each ruling dynasty continuously escalated the artistic and architectural ambitions of the last. And this brilliantly illustrates that striking architectural evolution. On one hand, you have the early Chalukyans. They were absolute masters of monumental rock-cut shrines, building stunning sites at Badami and Patadakal, which is actually a UNESCO World Heritage Site today. Contrast that with the later Hoysala architecture at Belur and Halebidu. They completely abandoned those massive rock-cut forms. Instead, they opted for these hyper-detailed star-shaped foundations that are practically dripping with incredibly complex, ornate sculptures. It's like night and day. Bridging those two architectural extremes were the Rashtrakutas. And they were busy. They didn't just build the awe-inspiring, magnificent rock-cut Kailasanath temple at Ellora, which is literally carved out of a single piece of rock, by the way. They were also immense patrons of culture. They developed robust Sanskrit literature and really fostered the Kannada language we saw born earlier, paving the way for legendary poets like Pampa to flourish. Section 3. The Vijayanagara Empire, the hub of the 14th century. So, by the time we hit the 14th century, one of the most powerful and culturally vibrant empires in all of South India takes the stage. And at the absolute center of it all, Hampi. Now, Hampi wasn't just a capital. It was an incredibly wealthy, bustling hub of global economic activity. The rulers poured all that immense wealth directly into the arts, building breathtaking monuments like the spectacular Virupaksha Temple. And the best part? Many of these monumental UNESCO World Heritage Sites still stand today. But, all golden ages eventually face a reckoning. In the 16th century, the Vijayanagara Empire experienced a truly tragic fall. This collapse fundamentally fractured the entire region, dividing it up into various smaller kingdoms and sultanates. Out of that fragmentation, however, rose a brand new regional power, the Mysore Kingdom, led by the Wodeyar dynasty, and they would go on to rule over much of Karnataka through the 17th century and beyond. Section 4. Resistance and colonial rule. The fight for the state. During this incredibly turbulent 18th century, a formidable figure emerged. Tipu Sultan, famously known as the Tiger of Mysore. He mounted a fierce, high-stakes resistance against the expanding British influence in the region. And he's famous for a few reasons, not just for his administrative reforms, but for his highly innovative military strategies.
He actually deployed early iron-cased rockets, which heavily influenced the trajectory of global rocketry. Ultimately, though, his defeat in 1799 led the British East India Company to take full control of the region. That relentless push against British colonial rule really defined the 19th and early 20th centuries here. But these leaders, they weren't just fighting for freedom. They were simultaneously engineering the state's internal development. Key pivotal figures like K. Muni, the brilliant visionary M. Visvesvaraya, and the political leader S. Nijalingappa, they were essentially laying down the groundwork for the modern, thriving, independent state we know today. Section 5. From Independence to Silicon, Building the Modern Hub.
Let's move to and see how this builds into the modern map, because it happened in a rapid sprint of 3 defining steps. Step 1, 1947, India officially gains independence from British rule. Step 2, 1956, the region is politically reorganized as Mysore State under the States Reorganization Act. And Step 3, 1973, the state is officially renamed Karnataka, fully uniting the linguistic and cultural identity that had literally been building for millennia. Fast forward to today, and Karnataka firmly stands on 3 modern pillars. First up is technology. Bangalore drives India's massive IT industry. It's globally known as the Silicon Valley of India. Then there's knowledge, with the state acting as a major national hub for top-tier education. And finally, culture. They maintain a rich, living tradition of classical music, dance, and literature. It's wild to think about that connection, right? The exact same land that engineered those monumental stone temples centuries ago is now coding the software that powers our modern world. So the crucial point is, this state isn't just a museum of historical artifacts. From Neolithic toolmakers to Hoysala architects, straight through to modern Bengaluru coders, there is an unbroken, continuous thread of human innovation happening right here. Which leaves us with a genuinely fascinating question. With 5,000 years of incredible momentum behind it, what will Karnataka build next? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. I hope you found this journey as captivating as I did.